Welcome to the Pump Take Sports Show. Today is the football show, Friday football show with me and Aidan. We're going to be doing a full 7-round mock draft for the Jaguars. We're going to keep it kind of short. We're not going to go forever. We're going to keep it manageable so you can watch it and still get on with your day. I saw this thing on Twitter today, Aidan, that I really liked, and I think it was Mike Renner that said it. And he said, free agency is for need and the draft is for value.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good saying, so I just wanted to say it in the show today because we are doing a show about the draft. So we're going to be doing Jaguars mock 1 through 7, like I said. You know, there's a lot of things they need. So picking for need, also picking best player available, I think, at a few positions just because they could use a lot of things. So that's kind of
that's what I was going to say about that philosophy that you just said. It makes a lot of sense, especially for a team like the Jags who – you know, pretty much everything you could argue is a need to some level. So, we're definitely going to be going best player available. As much as we possibly can.
You're absolutely right. And so the Jaguars are sitting here with everyone knows the first overall pick. Let's not waste any time. Trevor Lawrence is going to Jacksonville. And the fun part of the video is going to see what we kind of put around him. So right away, there goes Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Penny Sewell, Trey Lance, Jamar Chase, Justin Fields, Jalen Waddle, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley, J.C. Horn. Whoa, lots of corners. Kyle Pitts to your Giants. Mac Jones goes to the Niners. Devonta Smith falls down to the Patriots. The Cardinals reach on Najee Harris. Lots of tackles flying off the board here. And
the Cardinals drafted Najee Harris?
Yep, the Cardinals drafted Najee Harris. So quick little, just because the first round is fun, we'll just kind of give a quick little look back.
Well, one thing we should say is we're recording this right in the middle of free agency frenzy. Yes. And so the draft picks are probably not going to reflect some of the moves that are made by these teams. So that's one thing to keep in mind as we go along. We're very early in the process here, so the Jaguars could make a couple moves that kind of make some of these picks irrelevant. But I think there's, like we said at the top, they have so many needs. Nothing is going to be, totally irrelevant that we do here. So we are with the second pick that the Jags have that they got from the Rams and the Jalen Ramsey trade.
Yep.
Wow. So looking at the board here that I see at the top, there's a lot of value that has fallen here. So when we were talking about this pre-draft, we were talking about, wide receiver, secondary, O-line, interior defensive line. There's some options there. I have to say, though, it's tricky looking at Micah Parsons there. And I think because the thing is, and this is what I said before we started recording, they paid Joe Schobert last year to be their Mike linebacker, but he was not very good last year.
Yep.
And, they have Miles Jack, obviously, who's a superstar. I think I think you can get away with pairing Micah Parsons. And if he's so versatile, if he doesn't work out as a linebacker, he could play edge. If, like, let's say Chason doesn't work out the way you want him to. I think I would probably just go best player and go Micah Parsons here. I don't know if you have.
No, I agree with you, man. As soon as I saw him falling down the thing here, like Greg Newsome II went to the Jets before Micah Parsons did. Trayvon, I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name.
Morig. I actually would have liked that pick for the.
But these are the kind
Jags
of
if he fell.
Going pretty high. Like Micah Parsons, in my eyes, is just a better prospect than maybe not in this top 10 group, but a lot of corners flew off the board, man. J.C. Horn at 10, get back the Jets, swing around and take another one. Greg Newsome II. So I agree with you, man. Micah Parsons, best player available. We're taking him from Penn State.
He's versatile enough that, if you want to move on from Schobert, you can. If you want to play him at edge, if you want to play him at linebacker, there's a lot of spots for Micah Parsons to work. You get the future of your offense and then the future of your defense. I think it makes a lot of sense.
You're absolutely right. So
round back here at 33.
Two fun things that happened right after we took Parsons. Christian Barrymore, the interior defensive lineman out of Alabama. That's who I was trying to hope fell to 33 because I think that would have been a good pick for them. But he went one pick after we took Parsons. And my Green Bay Packers take JOK, which I'm happy with. That's pretty cool. And then it comes back around and the Chiefs decide not to take an offensive lineman. Oh, yeah, they do. Interior offensive. Yeah. They do. I thought that said IDL for a second there.
Looks similar.
But yeah, so And here we are, 33rd pick. The Jags kind of own the top part of this draft here for the most part. So they've got a lot of stuff they can do. We could take an edge rusher. Azeez Ojulari's still here. We can't.
This is a tough
linebacker, right?
I don't love the way that this is shaken out if I'm the Jags, because edge and linebacker are two needs that, like, they're needs to a certain degree. We still don't know how good K'Lavon Chaisson, first round pick from last year, is, and there are a lot of question marks at linebacker, but like you would definitely have preferred to not have a bunch of edges and linebackers being at the top of the board here. But let's see, what else do we have at some other positions here? Let's take a look at corner and safety.
With corner, we've got Eric Stokes, Aaron Robinson.
I see one that I really like here personally. I like Asante Samuel. Yeah. I think that's a really nice, versatile pick in the secondary. That's my front runner right now.
Let's just take a look at safety before we confirm that for sure.
I do like Javon Holland as well, out of Oregon. The way this board shakes out, like, Asante Samuel is probably going to be a first round pick in real life, but he's not even the top ranked corner left on the board. So we could probably get him at 45 if we wait. But I don't know if we want to make it realistic here. If Asante Samuel was here, I would probably take him if I were the Jags, even though, they re-signed Trey Herndon. But I believe their guy who's played slot corner for them, DJ Hayden, past few years, he's a free agent. So I don't know. I think that's probably where I would go.
I'm into it, man. And also you got to
he would be at the top of my board.
Yeah, one of the best positions of need. So Asante Samuel Jr. would get right back there in the secondary. And think about the three players they've walked away with from this draft so far. You are not disappointed with what you've put together here. So
that would be a slam dunk for the Jaguars.
Right away, Azeez Ojulari goes off the board. Gregory Rousseau follows. Kyle Trask goes to the Panthers. Zaven Collins fell pretty far in this mock.
Yeah. So I was going to say, one of the things I was going to say is that there were so many edges left on the top of the board. We might have been able to get some really good value here, just because there were so many that had fallen. That's not the case anymore. Let's look at wide receivers.
I agree. One thing I wanted to ask you before we move on to wide receiver really quick. I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but the Javante Williams, this running back out of North Carolina, I don't know if you've looked into him at all. But
yeah, I have. He's actually my favorite running back in this class. He's my RB1.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to ask you, because I've seen him flying up boards lately. And I've looked into him a little bit. I think he's a good-looking player, but I haven't done enough film research to really compare him and Najee Harris and Travis Etienne all together. So I just want to know, for the viewers who are watching, if you have any thoughts on Javonte Williams.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's my RB1. I think a lot of people love Najee Harris, and I think there is a lot to love. He brings that well-rounded skill set that I think it is attractive. It reminds me a lot, the comparison between the two. And I think these two players respectively are a lot better, but it reminds me a lot of Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders coming out. I liked Miles Sanders a lot more because what Javonte Williams brings, number one, he's played less seasons. And so I was looking at a chart the other day that was showing like the dominator ratings of these players in college. And obviously Etienne and Najee Harris played all 4 years of their college seasons. Javonte Williams only had 3, and he was right on trend to have the highest dominator rating in his 4th year of any of them. So Etienne to a lesser degree, but Najee Harris are kind of getting boosts because they performed so well in their last seasons. Yeah. I just like the projection of Javonte Williams. I like, he's got the juice. He's electric. He's explosive. He's shifty. So he would be my RB1. A lot of it, I like him the most, but also I think the cost of him is going to be cheaper than these other guys. So that factors in as well. But yeah, I like him a lot. If we didn't have James Robinson here, he would be in play, although I probably wouldn't take him in the 2nd round. The Jags just have so many picks, they can afford it. But yeah, love Javonte Williams. That was an interesting thing to bring up there. I do like, if any chance I can get to talk about him, because he is my favorite running back. Not a lot of people have him as their top running back.
No, but people are starting to notice him, I think, in just the draft community. People are starting to talk about him. So it was, just wanted to bring it up from just a fantasy perspective, because I know people who listen do play. So wide receiver, I agree, would be the spot that we need to go here. We need to get Lawrence a weapon.
Well, that, or I wanted to check because I think I saw Pat Fryermuth available at tight end. And if he is, I think that's an auto pick. Yeah, there he is. I think you got to make that pick here. The Jags desperately need a tight end. They whiffed on Josh Oliver in, I think, the second or third round a couple years ago. He's not very good. Outside of him, they have no one under contract. Pat Fryermuth is the easy slam dunk tight end two here. I think there are options at wide receiver, but none of them are. It's a much deeper wide receiver class than it is a tight end class. And the Jags have a lot of other picks that are likable. That you can get a player that's likable later in the draft. So that would be my personal pick. If you like a wide receiver, I wouldn't think it's crazy to take him, and we can go maybe with Hunter Long later in the draft. But
no, you know what? I think we'll roll with your pick here. Pat Fryermuth out of Penn State. I believe that's our second Penn State player we've taken because we got as well. So Penn State is coming to Jacksonville, and we're getting Trevor Lawrence a weapon here. Is Pat Fryermuth more of a receiving or blocking tight end, or is he?
He does a little bit of both. So you obviously have Kyle Pitts, who's like this, mismatch weapon in space. He's, some people have compared him to like Calvin Johnson. I don't think he has the straight line speed of Calvin Johnson, but in any case, that kind of gives you an idea of what Kyle Pitts is. He's a solid blocker, but he's definitely his selling point is his receiving ability. Fryermuth is more of your traditional inline tight end. He can play the kind of more traditional tight end roles.
Yep.
He's a great receiver, but he's not the same athlete that Kyle Pitts is. So you project him in more of that traditional tight end role, but he's much better than anyone on the Jags roster right now. So I think in my opinion, I wouldn't take him in the first round just because I'm not high on the positional value of tight ends unless they're like a game breaker like Kyle Pitts is. So I probably wouldn't take him in the first round, but I think that's a value where you're getting him at pick 45 there.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's interesting to see how the draft kind of fell after we took him. Javonte Williams, the guy we were just talking about, once again goes one pick after our pick down in New England. So also a lot of receivers kind of went off the board here. A lot of the ones I was hoping would fall.
Rondale Moore was still there. We probably should have.
Yeah, Rondale Moore, Elijah Moore, good players were still there.
But I do stand by the idea that Fryermuth was far and away the best tight end, whereas I know, like I'm looking right now, I see Diami Brown still on the board from North Carolina, actually Javonte Williams' teammate. I love him. So the fact, I think right now, just looking at the board, he would be my pick, but we're going to look around a little bit. But
let's just go to the general board for a second, just to kind of get an idea of who's here generally. Richie Grant is still here to UCF. They do need a safety at some point. Amari Rogers does have a high draft grade right now, and he's available as well. Their offensive line situation is interesting because they do have, as we were talking about before the show, they do have enough offensive linemen to string something together. But, you can always have more. But once again, you just kind of have to go position of need here, right? So, a wide receiver, we got to get Trev a weapon here. Trev's got DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault. That's awesome. But as you also said before the show, that's their third best receiver is someone that I can't even remember his name. That's how
it's called Colin Johnson. Yeah. He was I think he was either a 6th or 7th round pick or he was undrafted out of Texas. He's this big, tall guy. He was pretty good last year, surprisingly. I expected him to kind of have like a Hakeem Butler career arc where maybe he converted to tight end. But he's a fine complementary option. But yeah, you definitely need more weapons in the wide receiver group. So for me, Diami Brown would probably be the pick here just because I think he's a huge value. You might argue because of the role that he played in college that he might be redundant with DJ Chark there. But I actually do think he has some of the ability, the route running ability, some contested catch ability that he's not just going to be a deep threat and he can kind of play a complementary role with DJ Chark. That would probably be my pick unless let's look around at safety and corner again, just really quick.
With safety, we've got our Darius Washington here, but this would be too high for him.
Yeah, I think Diami Brown he would be so much higher on my board that you couldn't justify it.
North Carolina, 6'1", 195, a junior. Get Trevor Lawrence a nice weapon to pair with DJ Chark and Shenault. And I think we've made a great couple picks here for Jacksonville so far. I mean, they got to revamp the team somehow, and the draft is the way to do it. So there goes Richie Grant there to UCF, the safety that I had my eye on.
I do like him. But again, the other thing is that the safety market in free agency is pretty suppressed. We obviously, John Johnson was signed to the Browns, but there are some guys still left out there that are available. So it's possible that the Jaguars are able to patch that hole in free agency. But also, I don't know if I've seen Ardarius Washington go off the board. He might be a little bit redundant with Asante Samuel that we drafted, but we'll take a look and see what's available here.
So let's just quickly look at our picks here, just to recap, because we're in round 4, halfway through. Trevor Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Asante Samuel, Pat Freiermuth, and Diami Brown. What a draft so far for Jacksonville. They're addressing pretty much best player available at every position after Trevor Lawrence. And you just love to see it. So we got to look at safety here, I think, because we do need one.
Ardarius Washington is there. I do like him, but I do want to check 2 other spots. I want you to look at interior defensive line and see if Aleem McNeil is still there. Yeah, he's still there. He would probably be. Yeah, I like him a lot. He would probably be above Ardarius Washington for me slightly. But then also offensive tackle is something to look at. If we can get like a Dylan Radunes or something. No, Walker Little is still there though. Oof. I think I would probably go with him. Protect Trevor Lawrence a little bit.
6'7", 309 pounds. That's a big boy coming out of Pac-12.
Yeah, I think because I think you could make an argument for Aleem McNeil or for
we have to keep in mind too
Ardarius Washington.
Is that Ardarius Washington is not going to fall. Is there a tackle here on your board that you like as much as maybe a little less than Walker Little, but still would deliver you the offensive tackle value? Because we don't have a safety really that right now.
I think you can argue that Brady Christensen could be in the same. Walker Little to me is far and away the best tackle left here, but I think you could argue Brady Christensen is he could help patch up that need. And the other thing we have to keep in mind is that the Jags do like Cam Robinson, who they franchise tagged, even though he's not really that good, and Juwan Taylor, who has not lived up to expectations as an early second-round pick a few years ago. And the other thing to keep in mind is that, we said we didn't really want to take advantage of this because at this point, Walker Little, this is the 4th round. He'll be gone in real life, most likely by this point. There are some question marks. Obviously, he hasn't played in a long time since 2018, but, the upside is just too much there. He'll be gone by this point. But in any case, I think I would probably I would probably pick Aleem McNeil here and hope that Walker Little falls. But if you wanted to go with Ardarius Washington, even though I think if we didn't take Asante Samuel, I would probably go Ardarius Washington because secondary is more important. But yeah, I'll just say if you want to go with, I'll let you make the pick between those 2.
The things that I've seen of Ardarius Washington, I do like. And he is a small, as it just says right there, he's a smaller safety prospect, but he's a very physical player. And I think it would be a nice pick here for a position that we do need. And maybe we come back for tackle if we do think Walker Little is going to be gone in real life.
Yeah, for me, I think the best player available is probably Aleem McNeil or Walker Little, probably Walker Little. But one of those 2. But if you want to go Ardarius Washington, I can't blame you because he's right in there with them. And it is a bigger need for Jacksonville. So I would probably go with one of those 2 defenders. I'll let you pick between the 2.
All right, I'm going to take Ardarius Washington here, the safety at a TCU. I just think, look at all the safeties flying off the board after that. Paris Ford.
Yeah, there goes Aleem McNeil. So that's unfortunate, but that was inevitable. He was going to go, and Tyler Shelvin goes too. Let's just hope that Walker Little falls to us here because that would be my pick easily.
We pick 2 more picks.
He goes the
pick before us.
That sucks.
That would have been great, if he fell back around. Brady Christensen is still here as a tackle. Jalen Moore's here. We could also look at interior defensive line as well. Bobby Brown III is here out of Texas A&M. We got LeBrian Ray out of Alabama.
Yeah. Makes me kind of wish that we did go. Is Osa Odigizua still there? On IDL? Sorry. Scroll down a bit. No, he's probably gone. Man, yeah, we probably should have taken Aleem McNeil in hindsight, but you know what? It is what it is. It's possible that the Jags sign a Dalvin Tomlinson, who, is currently on my favorite team. They can fill that need in other ways. It's not hard to get interior defensive linemen. I think Aleem McNeil bring something extra as a pass rusher, which made him a good pick, but we don't need to reach on any of those guys. To me, I think I would go with Brady Christensen personally at this point.
Yeah, we might as well take a great position of value here. 6'6", 300 pounds, big boy.
Yeah, the only concern with Brady Christensen is the level of competition at BYU. Obviously, some things that Zach Wilson has faced, some of those critiques. And you know what, his tape is really good, but the only problem is, we haven't really seen him against true NFL competition. He had a chance to do that at the Senior Bowl, but he did not participate. So yeah, I don't know. I think
you could also potentially slide him in at guard, right? If he's not ready to really take the tackle position right away,
true.
Put him in at guard. They've got Cam Robinson still there, who they're in love with. So Brady Christensen, let's take him here at a BYU.
Yeah.
And see who falls to us next here. Frank Darby, the wide receiver, just went off the board to the Vikings. James Wiggins, the safety, to the Cowboys. Seth Williams, the Packers finally draft a receiver. That's weird. Jalen Moore, the offensive tackle, goes to Kansas City. And now we're in round 5 here. And we've crossed out a lot of these needs, man. QB, tackle, corner, safety, tight end, wide receiver. Interior O-line, running back, and edge are left among our team needs. But we can really look at anything here. So
yeah. I was just going to say the exact same thing. We've done a good job attacking needs here, while also getting some really great players. So we're in a good position to just take whoever is the best.
Hubbard is still sitting here out of Oklahoma State, the Canadian kid.
I don't know. I'm not the biggest James Robinson believer in the world, but I think he showed enough to the point where it's like, I'll just bring in a really cheap veteran to back him up, and then I'll be fine going forward.
What do you think about the edge talent that's still sitting here? Is Cameron Sample?
I don't hate Cam Sample. I think he would be a good pick. But let's look around a little bit. Let's look back at tackle and see who we have. Or you know what we could do before we do that? Look at edge for me and see who else is there. So we got Cam Sample, Hayes,
Weaver.
Yeah.
Jonathan Cooper.
I don't know.
Not great.
The thing with Cam Sample, I don't really know where he would play, because he's short, but he's probably big enough to play defensive line or interior defensive line in like pass rushing packages. I don't really know about the scheme fit there.
These are the IDLs that are.
I guess he could play like a like kind of the Calais Campbell role that they're missing, but they just signed Roy Robertson Harris. They paid him big money to kind of play that role. Obviously, no one's going to be Calais Campbell, but you see my point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you're like 5 inches shorter than Calais Campbell, like Cam.
You know what? Rashad Weaver would be a good fit, because we kind of missed out on interior defensive line. He's a really good run defender. That could be a good fit. Again, though, the scheme fit is questionable. But yeah, let's go back to tackle and see who's there. Obviously, if we were in the real NFL here, we'd have a lot more time to make these picks. We'd be thinking about
it. Talking about it a little bit more.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit for me. Oh, man, yeah, there's not a lot of great options here.
I mean, we've already spent a little bit of capital on a tackle, and the Jaguars do have an offensive line that they can string together for at least this season. But
but you don't really want to be cheaping out when your quarterback's Trevor Lawrence. I think we should at least be looking at it.
What do we have in the interior offensive line?
Trey Hill is intriguing. I think he might be at the top of what we've seen so far, but he's not great enough for me to.
Is he a center naturally?
I believe he played guard at Georgia. He might have played both. I'm not actually sure. A lot of these at college guys.
A Jaguar thing that, I mean, this will be late news now because this video is coming out on Friday, but Andrew Norwell made a little bit of cap rearrangement to open up some stuff for them. So that's just some Jaguars news while while we're looking at the Jaguars O-line here.
We could double up at corner or receiver. I don't think that would be.
No, let's just look at receiver. See who's here. Des Fitzpatrick out of Louisville.
Anthony Schwartz is interesting to add some speed.
Yep.
Some more speed. We already obviously had Diami Brown, but Anthony Schwartz is a pure speed threat. So that could be interesting. I think he would probably be the top of he'd be my top pick right now.
It says here he displays some physical toughness for being a track guy. So he also, I guess, is a little tough according to the Draft Network's interpretation of his game.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's take a look at corner as well, because obviously corner is always a valuable position.
Absolutely.
There's some interesting names here. Kerry Vincent.
Brown out of Michigan State as well. I've heard some rumblings of.
Keep scrolling down there. Oh, I love Tay Gowan. Let's take him. He's a huge value.
To 185.
Yeah, I like him a lot. We've gone with some shorter defenders in the secondary. Let's get a bigger guy here to balance that out.
Tay Gowan comes to us at 145.
That's a huge steal. I'm glad we scrolled down a little bit. I don't know why he's ranked so low.
That's a nice little corner pairing there for the Jacksonville defense.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of with the secondary, just taking a bunch of draft picks and taking a lot of them, because really, how many of them are going to work out? The more shots you take, the more likely you are to find somebody who.
I mean, look at Green Bay. How long did it take us to find Jair Alexander, right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of shots before you wound up with him. This is a spot where we could look at running back. I actually do. We could look at running back here because we're in the sixth. Are we in the fifth or sixth round?
Fifth round right now.
Okay.
We could also look at receiver.
We could go back to receiver. Yeah, there was some other guys that were still left. If Schwartz is still there, that's an option.
Schwartz is still there.
Who else do we have? Cornell Powell. He's interesting. He had some good numbers at his pro day, at the Clemson pro day. He is interesting. I know that he is a good blocker for a receiver. That could be something that Urban Meyer is attracted to. Tamorian Terry. Wow, I butchered that name. He's another interesting option.
I've also heard a little bit of stuff about Trayvon Grimes. I'm not sure what you feel about him, but I have heard stuff about him.
Yeah, he's not my favorite. He's pretty redundant with what you have in Colin Johnson. He's just a big, tall guy, red zone threat. I wouldn't really be interested in bringing him on. To me, I kind of like Cornell Powell or Anthony Schwartz. I think the Jags already have a lot of speed, so they can afford to take more of like a gritty, underneath guy with Powell. I think he would probably be my pick, either him or Anthony Schwartz. I mean,
the other thing with Powell as well is you're pairing up the Clemson boys together, right?
Lawrence. That's true. Yeah, you're getting so, I think I would go with Powell for that reason.
Yeah, no, that's a good one as well. So there we go. Powell comes to us. We're filling out a nice little team here.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would change in hindsight is maybe going with Aleem McNeil. But again, you can find interior defenders if you need them in other spots. So I think getting our Darius Washington there is fine. It does suck to miss out on Walker Little. I think realistically, he would have been my pick there if we were sitting there in real life. We were trying to play the board a little bit and we got caught. But winding up with Brady Christensen and our Darius Washington is not a bad consolation prize.
There goes Puka Williams out of Kansas. I've heard nothing but not great things about him as a prospect.
Yeah, I mean, he would be at the top of the name draft. If you're drafting just for names,
yeah,
he would be a first round pick probably.
Zach Thomas, the quarterback out of where is he out of? Oh, the board's flying. I can't keep up. He went to the Steelers though. Buddy Johnson, the linebacker from Texas A&M, goes to the Cowboys, and we're back on the board with our 7th round. So the Jags don't have a 6th round pick, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think so. Wow, this is quite the draft. We've draft haul we've come away with.
Here. Yeah, you think? Let's just we'll recap when we're done. We only have one more left. So
yeah,
let's just look at all the prospects here. We're in the 7th round, right? It's worth the time to do that. All right, we've got a couple receivers here, but we've already kind of spent on receiver a little bit.
Yeah, we have not taken an
Mark
edge
Jefferson,
prospect yet.
no,
I feel like if there's a good player still left there, I would.
Here's what we got sitting at edge here. I mean, once again, man, we're so late in the draft here that we're going to be struggling to put together a great final pick. But
hold on, go back to edge for a second. I didn't get a good look at who was there. Scroll down for me. Yeah, okay. So the only one I'm seeing that I really like is Chris Rumph out of Duke, Daniel Jones's former teammate. He's a very similar in terms of not athletic profile, but I guess frame to Kayvon Chason. He's a very thin edge. So you might say, like, you know, if you're the only reason why you would really want an edge is either for depth or, you know, worrying that Kayvon Chason ends up being more bust than boom. So maybe that's a bit redundant.
This is a situational pass rusher and an interior gap blitzer. So
yeah,
that's where he would fit in ideally.
But, you know, you kind of drafted Micah Parsons to be that gap blitzer anyways. So yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. IDL, I kind of like Lorenzo Neal. Or Malik Herring for that matter. He can play some edge. I'm not really sure why he's listed at interior defensive line. I mean, I guess he might.
Penetrating and attacking defense are his two scheme fits, and he's a backup edge and sub package rusher in his role there. So
I wouldn't hate him. He can kind of play both roles there. I think I could see him in either one. Again, I'm not really sure what scheme the Jaguars are going to be playing yet, so I can't really speak to how he'll fit in, but he's versatile enough. I think you can get something out of him. I would probably go with him.
Yeah, I'm into it, man. Let's take Malik Herring here out of Georgia. And that leaves us with, I believe, is that our last pick? Because I want to review our entire haul we walked away with here because it was awesome.
I don't know. We're in round 7 now, right? So maybe there's one that they traded for.
There we are. In the round 248. Yeah, we traded for it.
All right. So this one, we're just going to go with pure best player available, regardless of who it is. Maybe we can get a running back here. I do like Marco Wilson out of Florida at corner. I can't believe he's still there either. Like, this is just some of these rankings I'm not really sure about. He won't be here in the late 7th round in real life.
Well, if he's not going to be here, I say we just walk away with him with our final pick here.
Yeah, we definitely could. But there might be somebody even better. So it couldn't hurt to just look around and just.
These are the running backs you just mentioned, running backs. So these are the ones that we're sitting here with. Elijah.
I don't really see anybody.
No. Watch one of those guys become the best guy in the class, eh?
Honestly, it's very possible. Just go to the right situation. That's all it really takes. Although was Felton? No, there's no way that Felton was there, right? No. Yeah, I don't know.
These are the best players available, apparently. They have Thomas Graham Jr. ranked above Marco Wilson here.
Yeah, I think he's probably who I'm leaning towards personally, but.
Well, let's just snag him.
We've already drafted a lot of players in the secondary. I'm not opposed to going with one more, but I think that is. I think that's probably the best pick that I see.
All right. Well, let's take Marco Wilson out of Florida here at the end of the draft. And who will be Mr. Irrelevant? That's the real question, isn't it?
Who has the last pick? Cleveland?
Well, we weren't able to see. Oh, yeah, we can just go to this here. The last pick was Cleveland. Quinton Morris, the tight end, future Gronkowski.
Bowling Green, eh? Yeah.
All right, so our user picks here. Wow. Trevor Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Asante Samuel Jr., Pat Freiermuth, Diami Brown, Ardarius Washington, Brady Christensen, Tay Gowan, Cornell Powell, and Malik Herring, and Marco Wilson at the end there. We walk away with some great players here, man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Looking back, yeah, the only thing you could really question is maybe we should have gone with another wide receiver at some point. But again, I think maybe there's going to be some value. We've yet to see a big name wide receiver sign in free agency. Maybe they get Kenny Golladay. Yep. Maybe they get Curtis Samuel or something like that. And, again, it's still early, so maybe they fill the interior defensive line need as well. But I think with what we know right now, this is about as good of a haul as you could come away with.
I absolutely agree with you. We'll be back. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, everyone, for tuning into our Jaguars 1 through 7. All you Jags fans got a lot to be excited about because there is a lot going on in the draft that you guys own this year. It's pretty crazy.
It's a lot of cap space, a lot of draft picks. It's a good time to be a Jags fan. I don't know if there's a better offseason for it.
No, you're absolutely right, man. So we'll be back. Me and Aidan will be back. We'll be doing a free agency show eventually. We're going to wait till the dust settles. Stuff is flying around right now. My team just lost our center. And so stuff's happening. Aidan's team might overpay a lot of players. So we're going to wait till the dust settles and
see that.
Do a full show about it. And we might have a guest Ravens fan on to do that with us because the Ravens have been making a little bit of moves as well. So anyway, we'll be back with a full free agency show. Thanks for watching. You guys are the best, and we'll see you next time. See ya.